Oh, I know that sound. It's time for the Beer and News Report. Hi, and welcome to the Beer News Report. Cheers. Today I'm drinking banana bread beer. This is from Eagle Brewery. It's another brewery out of England. This is good, but you gotta like bananas. It has the smell of bananas. It sort of tastes like banana bread. And I like banana bread. I did a show on how to make it. It's called the Lazy Man Cooking Show. Okay, this one definitely isn't as good as my dad's recipe, but it's still good. And if you like bananas and beer, you should give this one a try. Cheers. We hear in the news that companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and even NASA are planning on putting people on Mars. Well, I came across an article in Scientific American, and they talked about putting people on Titan, which is a moon orbiting Saturn. And then I came across another article that wanted to colonize Venus. I didn't even think that was possible. So, that's going to be the topic of today's show. What other planets or moons are we talking about colonizing? Cheers. Let's first get a basis for where we are now. We have an International Space Station that's orbiting around us. We put men on the moon, and currently there's a rover on Mars. So this is our starting point. And NASA estimates that they'll be able to land people on Mars in about the 2030s. Now SpaceX, a company run by Elon Musk, that's the guy that has the electric car company called Tesla, he thinks that they'll be able to land people by 2026, 5 years from now. The last time we put someone on the moon was December of 1972, so it's been a while. And in fact, if we were using that same technology, it would take 3 years to get someone to Mars. But there's been advances in space technology, and now we can do that in around 6 to 9 months, which is good, because the longest anyone has stayed in space has been 438 days, and that was by Valery Polyakov, a Russian cosmonaut. All right, Russia, way to push it to the limit. Cheers. But why Mars? Why not the moon? The moon's closer. We've already been there. Why not start colonizing there? Now, while the moon is closer, it lacks any atmosphere, there's no water, and the gravity's not that close to Earth. In low gravity environments, our body doesn't do so good. Our muscle mass goes down, our bones get less dense, so they're brittle. Now, what are the benefits to Mars? Well, it does have an atmosphere. It's mainly made up of carbon dioxide, which is 95% of it. We do have the technology to strip out oxygen from carbon dioxide, so we can make our own oxygen on Mars. Mars also has water. Ice sheets have been discovered on the poles of Mars. It's estimated that the ice cap in the southern pole is equal to all the water in Lake Superior. And Lake Superior is the largest of all the Great Lakes. So that's enough water. What about minerals? Well, it's a red planet. And what mineral is normally red when found in its natural environment? Iron, because when iron rusts, it turns red. Mars has several other minerals, but to date, nothing of high value like gold or uranium. But that's okay, because the minerals that are there can be used to build structures, which is what we need to do if we're going to colonize it. Now, there are some other aspects to Mars that are very similar to Earth. Its day is 24 hours and 39 minutes, so we call it 24 hours. That's pretty much the same as Earth. The tilt of each planet is pretty much the same. So the seasons on Mars will be very similar to the seasons on Earth. And now the gravity, it's 38% of Earth's, but that's a lot better than the moon, which is only 16%. So in other words, if you weigh about 200 pounds on Earth, you're going to weigh about 76 pounds on Mars. Now that's a great diet plan. Cheers. Now the downside to Mars. It has no magnetic sphere. What do we need that for? It's because of the Earth's magnetic sphere that we don't get bombarded with solar particles and cosmic radiation. So what does that mean for life on Mars? Well, it means that we're going to have to do everything underground, but we haven't built anything underground yet. Yeah, so that means that the first people who go to Mars are most likely going to die on Mars. I mean, they're going to be the ones that go in and set everything up for the rest of us. And that takes a special type of person, most likely a military person, right? They're willing to die for their country, or a very, very generous adventurer. What this means is before we send any people to Mars, we need to send a lot of equipment and material so that they can get started right away. Well, there's one other thing I forgot to mention. The temperature on Mars ranges from a high of 86 degrees Fahrenheit to a low of minus 284 degrees Fahrenheit. So you better be inside with a heater at night, right? Just ask Texas about that. Cheers. But is Mars the best planet to colonize? Maybe, but some people are thinking Titan would be a better choice. First off, Titan is a moon. It's not a planet. And there's over 80 moons orbiting Saturn. A moon orbiting Saturn. You gotta be crazy. Yeah, Titan is that far away. If it roughly takes 7 months to get to Mars, that technology means it'll take 7 years to get to Titan. So obviously, we need better developed engines for space transportation, right? Otherwise, we're never going to get to Titan. But what's so great about Titan? Well, like I said, Titan is one of Saturn's moons, which means it is protected by the magnetic sphere of Saturn. So no solar particles, no cosmic radiation. We can live on the surface of Titan. Also, Titan has a thicker atmosphere than Mars. It is about 1.45 times that of Earth. And it's mainly made up of nitrogen, and Earth's atmosphere is mainly made up of nitrogen. Now, we'd still have to make our own oxygen, but we don't need pressurized suits, and airlock designs can be much simpler. Next, there's plenty of water. Titan is a liquid planet. Now, most of these liquids are hydrocarbons, but there's an underground water channels, just like on Earth. But let's get back to those hydrocarbons. When you're on Earth and someone comes up to you and talks about hydrocarbons, what do you think of? Oil, right? Yeah, Titan is this one humongous gas station. Now, Earth is not quite 10 times the size of Titan, but it's estimated that Titan holds 10 times the amount of hydrocarbons than Earth. So a spaceship that comes to Titan and says, hey, I need 1 million gallons of gas, and they'll say, hey, no problem. Will that be credit card, Apple Pay, or Bitcoin? Obviously, the spaceships that get to Titan won't be running on gasoline, but tons of stuff can be made out of hydrocarbons. There's a lot of money that can be made on Titan. Plus, there's 80 other moons to check out for precious metals and stuff floating around Saturn. And one last cool thing about Titan. Because its atmosphere is so thick and the gravity is so low, with a lightweight bodysuit and well-designed wings, a human should be able to fly by themselves just using their own muscle power. Wouldn't that be cool? Cheers. Now the downside to Titan. First, it's really, really, really far away. We can't get humans there now using our current technology. We're going to need something like ion or plasma propulsion or atomic engines. Next, while a Martian day is 24 hours, the Titan day is 15 Earth days. I mean, that brings new meaning to a work week. Think about how long a 2-week vacation would be. You go, yep. Hey, see you later, boss. Yeah, I'm taking my family on a week vacation around Uranus. All right, now, because it's so far away from the sun, solar panels won't be effective there. They'll work on Mars, but they won't work on Titan. No problem, you said. There's tons of hydrocarbons. We'll just build an oil power plant, for our energy. Yeah, but we don't have that much oxygen. So we're going to have to do something different from an oil power plant, which would take tons and tons of oxygen. We need something that doesn't use oxygen. Well, that's a nuclear power plant. Finally, there's the temperature. On average, Earth runs 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Mars is about minus 81 degrees Fahrenheit, and Titan is minus 274 degrees Fahrenheit. The good thing is it'll be no problem keeping your beer cold on Titan. Cheers. There's one other planet that's up for consideration, and that's Venus. Wait a minute, the surface temperature of Venus is 870 degrees Fahrenheit. We would burn up. True, but we're not actually going to go to the surface of Venus. NASA has proposed the Brilliant Cloud Plan, and that is that they're going to have blimps or very large air balloons that will float 30 to 50 miles up from the Venus atmosphere. At this high up, the air pressure is about the same as the air pressure at Earth's surface, and the temperature drops to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is much more manageable. Also, Venus is much closer to Earth than Mars or Titan. It would only take about 97 days or roughly 3 months to get to Venus. This also makes communication easier, roughly 4 minutes for a signal to reach Earth at its closest point, whereas Mars averages about 15 minutes. Okay, so you're floating around in a balloon and somebody goes crazy and pops a balloon. Aren't you going to crash and burn at the surface of Venus? Well, actually, no, because the atmosphere is so thick on Venus that when a balloon pops, it's not an explosion like here on Earth. It's more like opening a window. The Venus air flows in, the balloon air flows out. That's right, we're just using regular air in these balloons because we don't need hydrogen or helium. The regular air is lighter than the Venus atmosphere. So when it pops, an alert comes to the balloon captain. He calls the repair team, hey, we got a hole in section 9. Repair team says, yep, no problem. We'll be there in 15 minutes with a patch kit. And that's it. Now wrap your head around this. NASA estimates that a 1 kilometer balloon would be able to lift 2 Empire State Buildings. So we're talking about floating cities on Venus. That's pretty cool. Cheers. So let's recap. We have a space station currently orbiting the Earth right now. While there may be some structures built on the moon, this is most likely for research or maybe beta testing longer flights to other planets or other moons. Mars is currently the next planet that we intend to colonize, possibly happening in the late 2020s, definitely by 2030. Mars has water and an atmosphere, but we'll have to live underground, and it's cold. Titan is one of Saturn's moons, and that's another choice. There's low radiation, so we can live on the surface. There's tons of water and hydrocarbons, and no need for pressurized suits. But it's extremely cold. Also, solar power doesn't work there, so I have to go with nuclear, and currently we don't have the technology to get people there. Finally, Venus is under consideration. We would have floating cities, and it's much more closer to Earth than Mars or Titan. The temperature is hot but bearable, and if the balloon pops, then it's not that big of a deal to fix. But the surface temperature is too hot for our current technology. Also, there are clouds of acid that we'd have to steer around, although we have the technology to stand a hit. And finally, how are we going to mine the minerals on Venus if we're floating around it? I don't have the answers for you, but all I can say is in the next 10 years, it's going to be real exciting in regards to space travel. Cheers. Well, as you can see, my beer is almost empty, and that means we're at the end of the show. If you want to contact me, you can reach me at this email address. I hope you liked it and took some notes maybe. Click that like button if you did. Of course, if you want to get notified of new shows, you can click that subscription button and then the little bell icon next to it. This will notify you when a new show has been posted. Until then, keep your beer cold and your interests hot. Cheers.